Last question.
Thank you. You've said that you're confident that your comment won't undermine diplomatic efforts. But just to be clear, are you confident that Vladimir Putin sees it that way, that he will not use this as an escalatory?
I don't care what he thinks. Ukraine will never be a victory for Russia, for free people refused to live in a world of hopelessness and darkness. We will have a different future, a brighter future, rooted in democracy and principle, hope and light, of decency and dignity, of freedom and possibilities. For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power. The fact of the matter is I was expressing the moral outrage I felt toward the way Putin is dealing in the actions of this man. Just brutality of half the children in Ukraine. I just come from being with those families. But I want to make it clear, I wasn't then, nor am I now, articulating a policy change. I was expressing the moral outrage that I feel, and I make no apologies for it.
Personal feelings, sir.
Also the average citizen. Look at how they're stepping up. Look at how they're stepping up. And you're going to see when you're there, and some of you have been there, you're going to see women, young people stand in the middle in front of a damn tank, just saying, I'm not leaving. I'm holding my ground. They're incredible. We would respond. We would respond if he uses it. The nature of the response would depend on the nature of the use.
Are you worried that other leaders in the world are going to start to doubt that America is back if some of these big things that you say on the world stage keep getting walked back?
What's getting walked back?
It made it sound like, just in the last couple days, it sounded like you told U.S. troops they were going to Ukraine. It sounded like you said it was possible the U.S. would use a chemical weapon, and it sounded like you were calling for regime change in Russia, and we know...
None of the three occurred.
None of the three occurred?
None of the three.
Mr. President?
You interpret the language that way. I was talking to the troops. We're talking about helping train the troops that are the Ukrainian troops that are in Poland. That's what the context. I sat there with those guys for a couple hours. That's what we talked about.
So when you said you're going to see when you're there, you were not intending to
I was referring to meeting with and talking with the Ukrainian troops that were in Poland.
And when you said a chemical weapon use by Russia would trigger a response in kind,
it will trigger a significant response.
what does that mean?
I'm not going to tell you. Why would I tell you? You got to be silly.
the world wants to know?
The world wants to know a lot of things. I'm not telling them what the response would be. Then Russia knows the response.
You're going to see when you're there, Harris, he says to the 82nd Airborne, as if suggesting they're going into Ukraine. That was walked back. The chemical weapons comment walked back. And then the infamous one, you talked about it on your show, of course, the assertion with Russia that we're for regime change. I mean, I feel like this man is going to gaffe our way into World War III if we're not careful here.